So the easiest way to start is, here's your schematic. This is your main switch. If you look right here, it's the master switch on the driver's door. This is the left rear window switch. Left rear window motor. They can be a little confusing, but basically here's how it works. There's a gray and orange wire which comes from the master switch, and there's a, let me try to highlight that one for you. And there's a yellow and a light blue wire which comes to the master switch, and that's your up and down right here. So when it's in a neutral position, you're not pushing it up or pushing it down, it's going to be grounded. So there should be a ground signal going to both of those. When I go in the up position, which would be the gray and orange, I hit up, I lose the ground, it switches to the 12 volts, and this one stays a ground. And that will make the window go up. When I go down and I switch it to the yellow and blue, your down one, that'll go 12 volts, and the gray one and orange will stay a ground. And I'll show you, it's easier for me to show you, and you can do this with a regular test light, but it's easier for me to show you on the car, but that's kind of what we're going to be doing looking at this. We're going to see if we have the correct signal going from here to the switch. On the window switch in the back, here's your gray and orange, here's your yellow and blue. You'll notice there's two yellow and blues. The other yellow and blue goes down to the motor. And the easiest way to figure out which one is which is, you can ohm it out if you'd like, and that's the easiest way to do it. So what we're going to do is this. This jumper wire is hooked to the positive side of the battery. We're going to hook it to my test light. So now what I'm doing, I'm checking for a ground signal. That wire's grounded, and that wire's grounded, because we're in the neutral position. I have it hooked to the gray and orange wire. I believe that's the up button. So when I push it up, we should lose our ground signal. Up, up, up. Every time I hit the switch, we're losing our ground signal. So now what we're going to do is this. I'm going to disconnect the jumper wire. I'm going to hook it to a ground. What that'll do is, when I hit the up button, that should light up 12 volts. It should be a good bright test light. Up. So now I'm putting 12 volts back there. So let's make sure we're not losing the ground coming from the switch. I've got my test light hooked back to the jumper wire, which is hooked to 12 volts. Come on. So when I go up, that should stay ground. Up, up, up. So we know that the switch is sending the correct signals to the actual switch over here. Coming. So if you remember, the yellow and black and the yellow and blue both go down to the motor. Don't forget there's two yellow and blues, but it's the one that's right here in the middle, side by side, the yellow and black. So we want to go down with the window. This is hooked to the positive side of the battery. So we're going to take it and hook it to the yellow and blue. This is hooked to the negative side of the battery. So I'm applying direct voltage directly to the motor. Look, nothing. Even if we switch these, you should get some kind of a jolt. We're not getting anything though. Watch. So by doing it like that, you've eliminated the master switch. We know that that switch feeding this switch is working correctly. So I went ahead and jumped the wires going directly to the motor with 12 volts in the ground and nothing. We didn't get anything. So we know that that motor's bad. You can actually take it one step further. Let's unplug this. Let's plug this back in. B. Up and down. Okay, so let's plug that back in. Let's do this. What did we say? We said down would be the black and yellow, I believe I said. No. Down is the blue and yellow. Look at that. Me playing with it and jolting, I made that motor work. Now don't get me wrong, that motor is bad, but by me taking it and putting 12 volts to that, I just freed it up is what I did. I actually jolted that motor and moved it probably a millimeter, and now it's working. All right. Hey, it's working now. Let's check it with the front switch. Keep your eye right here. Look at that. Hello. Goodbye. Hey, we got lucky. I wonder if we can do the same thing on the other side. Let me just keep tapping it until it works. I should have had the camera going when I started diagnosing this door to make sure it was a motor too. What I did was I hit the switch, nothing happened. Then I gave it the old college whammy, beat it a couple times, started working. So we know the regulator is good. Basically, they need 2 rear window motors. All right, after talking to the customer, we're gonna stick to the important things. We're gonna do tires, sway bar links, the brakes, ball joints. The windows are working for right now, and the AC's, it's working halfway right now. I know a lot of you guys out there think that Freon just goes away on its own and you can put it back in and it's there. Think about this, your grandma's 50-year-old refrigerator that still works, that Freon just didn't go away. If your Freon goes away, you definitely have a small leak somewhere. There's a leak in your system. It's just not gonna go away on its own. And over a period of time, it may lose a little bit of its lust, but other than that, it's not gonna go out in the atmosphere. It's gonna stay in your system. You're gonna have pressure. So think about that next time you're working on your AC system. You go check your Freon, it's not there, and you say, oh, I just need to add it. You have a leak. You gotta trust me. All right, so let's get in. The first thing we're gonna do is get this thing up in the air, and we're gonna do some upper and lower control arms. So in replacing these upper and lower ball joints, we're gonna put the upper on as a complete unit, and the bottom one is gonna be pressed in. And the first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and I'm gonna get the caliper off, get it hung over here, and we'll take the ABS sensor, unplug it. So that way when the knuckle comes off, you're not yanking on that sensor, that connector, and end up taking a chance of messing something up. The top one's held on with an 18 millimeter. It is a self-locking nut. There is no Carter key. Once you take it off, just put it back on with a couple of threads, because when we get to the point that we're going to take the bottom one off and we hit it a couple times and this thing falls to the ground, you'll be glad that I told you to do that because it won't smash your feet.
Some people learn to that.
Yeah, I know.
Smash
It's smashing feet. All right. Regardless what Carl says, no one wants a smashed foot. He says some people are into that. I don't see it. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion. Everybody's got an opinion, right? Some are just bigger than others.
Right.
Carl's into that kind of stuff though.
Okay, that song's okay. At the end they go, let's go, Brandon.
All right. In order to get a Carter key out, you got to use a special tool, and it's called a dyke. Don't get upset with me. I didn't make that name up, but that's just what it's called. All right, the outer tie rod end is held on with a 21. Now, I do use a special tool to get a tie rod end out, and you could pick one up too at your local hardware store. And just like that, she's out. Compliments of Snap-on. $79.95. Probably more than that. You can probably go to Walmart and get one for like 10 bucks, do the same damn thing. All right. See, now we can move this thing back and forth nice and freely. Well, while I got it up in the air, I'm gonna go ahead and lower this. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Carter key out. Carter key. It's a Carter key. I guess it depends on if you're from New York or Cali or East or West Coast is how you say it. I guess if you're in New York, it's what is it called? It's a Carter key. Give me a Carter key out. And if you're in Cali, it's a Carter key, bro. All right, let me figure out what size this is and we'll get it off. So not sure where my socket went. So I got my lug nut socket. It's a 27.5, which I'm sure it's not 27.5, but it fits. And I'm using this 1/2 inch impact to get this lower ball joint off. It's from, I can't pronounce the name, UAOAII. They sent it to me and asked me to make a video on it. So I'm using it in different situations. Took it off pretty good. All right, same thing. I'm gonna leave it hanging just a little bit, a few threads on it. Extra precaution on my toes, right? So I did forget to mention one of the most important things. In order to get this part off, you need to jack your car up. If you do jack it up, make sure you use jack stands. Don't be like my son-in-law, and I've said this before, I've seen him jack a car up, climb underneath it with no jack stand and beat on a damn suspension part trying to get it off. And that's probably not the safest thing to do. But anyway, so make sure you jack it up, use caution, use jack stands. That would definitely ruin your weekend if you ended up having a car fall on you, right? That was the top one just came off, and going to hold off on the bottom one for a second. Let me get this caliper off. All right, the caliper bolt is a 15. Nope, I lied to you, it's a 14. I'm just a liar. I was born that way. Let's try it again. Take 2. It's a 14. 1, Mississippi. 2. You get a little screwdriver, big screwdriver I mean, kind of put a little pressure on the caliper. This way it comes off a little bit easier. All right, now this is where we want to go ahead and separate the wheel speed sensor from the hose, so that way we don't screw nothing up. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Make sure you take calipers off, use your hangers on them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's best if you do it, that way you don't take a chance in damaging or stretching the brake line, should I say. All right, go ahead and take the pads off. And while I got them, we'll take a look at them. They're good and clean. Kind of already looked at them once, but being as I had them off, I figured I would check for cracks, right? Because even though they look good and plenty of fat, they could always have some stress cracks in it, and that will cause brake noise. To get the sensor unplugged, it's right up in here. Push the tab, pull it out. Ah, almost got me, didn't it? Got one little clip underneath here you gotta pop out. Make sure that if any of these clips break when you're going back with it, use wire ties. You wanna make sure everything you do is always secure. You don't want any kind of flapping wires. No one likes a flappy wire. Do they, Brandon? No one wants a flappy wire. We'll stand this thing straight up just like it is and tap on it. A little bit tighter than I thought. Well, I think he's got something. Get out of the way, fool. Let's put a little lube in it. Hey, Carl.
Yes, sir.
Give this a wacky. Give it a whack whack. Right here. I want to get the ball joint out. You know, I don't care if you hit it that way or whatever. Sometimes you not hit it right here, get lucky and just come right down.
Oh, you're trying, okay. I think I got better this way.
All right, go ahead. Just took 2 people.
Oh boy.
I know you're excited about leaving me.
Yeah. Back over there?
Just take that nut out. I don't feel like having this thing follow me.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. All right, we just got some parts in. The lower ball joint is a K8695, and the upper control arm is a 5CB40587 Master Pro. All right, the lower ball joint is pressed in, and we're gonna press it out. So the first thing we're gonna do is remove the grease fitting on it, so my tool will sit flush. It does have a lock ring in it. We gotta get the lock ring off next. That's what it looks like. Be careful using these presses off of Amazon. I have one listed in my description. It lasted a while, it was pretty decent, but it finally broke. I think I've had about 6 sent to me and I've busted all 6 of them. This Snap-on one is, a guy don't know how old it is and it's still kicking butt. It's just, they're so cheap because of the metal that they use. The Snap-on one has definitely got, the metal quality is 10 times better. So if you're going to buy one, make sure you find one that's, you know, a good quality company, and definitely check the metal specs on it. So we're gonna see how this gun does on pressing out lower ball joints. That was pretty good, actually. You want to make sure when you do this, you start them in straight. Also, once you get it on, check it. Make sure it looks good. Go to the bottom side, make sure you're flush. We are golden. It should come with a new lock ring. Make sure you use it. And you can reuse the old one if they're good, but I wouldn't recommend it. Hey, how'd your truck do this morning?
Just fine. I'm even trying to tempt fate and not take it with me at lunch.
You know, the first time you don't take that jump box, you know what's gonna happen, right?
Well, that's the time I need it. First time I don't get to take it with me.
You'll, yeah.
No, it's doing pretty good.
Good. Make sure you go back with your grease fitting and don't forget to grease it up. Try to get it to where the grease fittings are, when you're, after you're tight, they're side to side. Because if you're back here and you want to, you know, grease it up in the future, it's a pain in the butt.
The sister's freaking out. She just got confirmation from the schools.
Ow, bitch. Yeah.
Because they didn't, Colorado didn't fax over the paperwork until a few days ago.
Yeah.
So they have to have at least 2 weeks before they can be enrolled in school. School starts next week.
That don't make no sense.
So, well, they got to do something with the paperwork where they basically told her, your kids can't come to school, we ain't got a place for them. It's going to take 2 weeks.
So they'll be a week behind going to school.
Yeah. And she is freaking out.
You can homeschool her.
Yeah.
Well, that's the best we can get it. All right, there we go. All right, so I got to go into the side. We're good to go. Let's get some grease in it. Yeah, I mean, like living in Virginia, I can't complain because you got everything is within driving. Mountains, beach. I mean, there's just so much to do in Virginia. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. In fact, we're planning on going down this weekend. I don't know if she's wanting to leave Friday night or Saturday morning, but she found one of the beaches that you can camp on
Yeah.
and drive on. I guess it's a little further south. So she's wanting to drive out and camp on the beach and camp there and all that nonsense. So
That's cool. You probably don't have to, but I'm one of them guys that I just don't like stuff in the way when I'm working. There's a 10 millimeter that's holding that brake line, and it's kind of in line with that nut I got to get off. So what I'm going to do is take this out here and just move it a little bit so I can get more of a straight angle on it. And that way you can just kind of move it to the side a little bit, use a socket with an extension. Get it?
broken box right across there. A good one the old man used was, even a blind hog turns up an acorn every now and again.
Come on now. The front side of this is being a little bit of a pain in the butt, so I got a pry bar. Try to get it off. We almost got it. Come on, man. Don't make me have to pull that bitch out. There you going. Phew. All right, hopefully I can get this in a little bit easier than it came out. Oh, this thing wanted to fight me. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, one side. Good grief. I just had to find the right combination. Sorry. Didn't mean to knock into you. All right, it came with new bolts, so be sure to use them. What I'm messing with is there's some shims on the left and right hand side that need to go up in there, and then the nut goes on this side of it. If they fall out, make sure you go back with them. Sometimes things just fight you. Just gotta have patience. Isn't that right, Carl?
That's right. But I gotta remember that. Save all my patience for fishing.
All right, I'm going back with the axle, and I'm gonna put a little lube, a little grease, just on the splines right here. A couple reasons. You never know if you're gonna have to work on it again, and it kind of helps slide it in. Hey Carl, give me a hand for 1 second. Tell you what, let's get it bolted on here first.
Onto the axle or onto the ball joint?
Ball joint.
Okay.
There you go.
Need a little more.
You need a little more. How about that?
Oh, I can.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
All right.
It ain't going nowhere now, mate.
Crikey.
Thank you.
That's no annoying. So I've been slowly introducing the nephews into the world of 80s movies. Last night we watched Uncle Buck. Oh yeah. Now they're calling, well they already called me Uncle Carl, now they're calling me UC. Like, oh jeez.
Not too bad. Not too bad. We will go back and torque that in just a few minutes, but I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of it lined up first. We are getting somewhere now. All right, so the ball joint is spinning in there a little bit. I want to put some pressure on it and see, can we
Get it to.
Yeah, you know how, get it to going up. All the way, hit it hard. All right.
It's pretty hard.
That's one way of getting it. Don't ask me why. This goes on the bottom.
That's a new one.
Well, no, it was in the package, in the thing. It don't fit though, does it? So guess what?
It goes on the floor.
It goes on the flow. All right. Tighten up the bottom. Remember, there is a quarter key that goes in this thing. Don't forget to use it. It's for your safety. Just another notch. Oh, I'm alright with that. I just didn't want to get caught with the music.
Some of my favorite car channels, they don't even swear or nothing, you know? All they do is show guys playing with old junk cars. And it'll unsubscribe me from them and all kinds of weird shit.
Alright, now we got to go back with the outer tie rod in. Go back with the brake pads. When you're going back with them, make sure they came off, you know, one came off the back, one came off the front. Make sure you put them on the same way you took them off. You can kind of look at it and see that the piston was touching this one was touching the outer part. So make sure you go back the same way. It's quiet in here today. It's too quiet in here today. Need to make some noise. Go ahead and get that brake line bolted back in place. All right, so now let's go back with your harness. Make sure you put it back in all the clips like I was telling you earlier. All right, next up on the list is gonna be rear sway bar links. Next up on the list is gonna be the rear sway bar links, brake pads, and rotors. All right, let's get into it. It was rusted on there, and my guy had the torch, or I'd have torched it off. So we went ahead and got a cutting wheel and cut her off and keep on rolling. Same as the front, you get a screwdriver and just take a little pressure off the caliper. It makes it a lot easier when you're taking it off. Hey! Instead of doing that, hold on a second. Ask Danny, he's got to paint that truck tonight. You ever taped up a car? Go help him tape that truck up. He has to paint that tonight. We'll do the other one later, tomorrow or whatever. I don't know what he's doing, but go over there. Tell him you're going to help tape up.
Help tape up?
Open all the doors in the hood, start blowing it off.
Okay.
Then we'll tape it up. All right, the parts just came in. The rotors are a 4431. The pads are SM881. And the links are a K80033. There is an order which these things go in. It's usually it's a washer, a bushing, and a washer in your sleeve. And then just right here. Now I'm not going to tighten these up until I get the other one in, because it's easier just to maneuver it around if I have to goof with it some. Let's get a couple of threads. You're awfully close, ain't you? Yeah, I got a pry bar just prying down a little bit, just enough to get a couple threads started. And we are good. We're good. Going back with the rotors. Stick them on. Always go backwards first. Get a little brake clean in there. Flip it over. Keep your greasy hands off it. Brake clean the other side and go with it.
So we got a cam. Did we get the phaser, or is that?
It's coming with a timing chain.
Okay.
All right. Get a rag. Wipe it off. Flip it over. Nice and pretty, nice and pretty. Pop the little slides off. Bing, got a bong. All right, knock the other ones on. I get a little bit of caliper grease. That's the brand I use right there. No particular reason, it just seems to work good for me. And put a little bit on it, you don't gotta go crazy. Just a little bit. Press your piston back in. You know, a lot of people don't realize that, but you should check your fluid before you press your piston in. The reason why is if you're pressing it in, you're pushing brake fluid back up into the master cylinder. The reason why I don't do it is because as your brakes wear, your master cylinder gets lower on fluid. And 98% of the people out there don't check their brake fluid and fill it. So when I'm pushing it back in, I'm actually filling up your master cylinder again. You're gonna push it in the top first and slide it in the rear, just like that. Just like that. Go back in with your bolts. Make sure they're good and snug. All right, we got the left side done. It's just a rinse and repeat for the right side. Get the tires on it and get it back to the customer. And I know that girl is ready to get her car. Think about it, she's 15, getting ready to turn 16, I'm thinking about, I don't know, a couple weeks, I think he said. So you know she's excited. We all remember our first car, right? I know you were excited when you got your first car, so you can imagine how this girl's feeling. That's it for this video. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Catch you later.